Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is March 18th. 3 days until spring. Can you believe the winter is almost over? And it's going to be a nice and sunny 60 degrees here in Colorado today. Today we have another edition of Transportation Tuesday, where we go around and talk about some of the infrastructure news in America. And on today's edition, we have another new interstate, but in a state that you would not have guessed that it would have been in. And we have a new type of intersection popping up here in Colorado, but it might be confusing to drivers. And finally, we have a state that I've ragged on here on the channel for the condition of its roadways, but they're actually making some progress today. Go ahead and like the video, and let's get started with the main story that you saw right there in the thumbnail, the continuous flow intersection. All right, and the first story starts out right here in Colorado, where they have this new intersection coming to the area. Let's take a look at that.
Heads up, big changes are coming to 3 intersections in Douglas County.
Yeah, it's a little bit confusing, so pay attention to this one. New this morning, 9 News transportation specialist Brianna Fernandez is joining us live near Highway 85 and Highlands Ranch Parkway. Brianna, we know the new intersection design is also going to change how drivers navigate this area. Like we were talking about, it's confusing, but it's supposed to improve traffic flow.
All right, and before we get into Brianna's comments, just want to give you guys an idea of what this intersection is they're talking about. Basically, this is another take on mitigating, or in some cases where transportation engineers have tried to outright eliminate the left turn movement when it comes to traffic. Now, we've gone over 3 of those cases so far on the channel. We've done the New Jersey Jughandle, the Michigan left, and we've talked about roundabouts. Now, this new one here, some of you may be familiar with, but there's not that many of these in the country. It's called the continuous flow intersection. And this is yet another take on mitigating that pesky left turn movement. So let's see what they have to say about that.
Drivers are literally going to be scratching their heads thinking, what is going on along Highway 85? So what's going to be happening here? It's called a continuous flow intersection, better known as CFI. So I want you guys to take a look at your screen, especially if you're in Douglas County and take Highway 85. So here's an example of what you're going to experience in this area. This new flow removes the conflict between oncoming traffic and drivers turning left. So Highway 85.
So yep, just like she said, this is yet another take on that, removing that conflict between left turning traffic and through traffic through these intersections.
5 drivers turning left at the new intersection will cross through traffic using a new signal. So you're going to continue to that far left side of the road and then make a left turn, while the other drivers, they're going to just keep driving as they normally would at any typical intersection. So these intersections along Highway 85, they're going to be opening up in phases. Starting on Wednesday, phase 1 will open up southbound Highway 85 to eastbound Highlands Ranch Parkway traffic. Then March 26th, that's going to be phase 2 that is scheduled to open for southbound Highway 85 to eastbound Town Center Drive, and then you have C470 that it's going to open up sometime in April. And this full project includes several other elements that's going to be completed later this year.
We have a very good track.
All right, so this area in question, we can go over here to our Google map, go take a look at the Colorado area. It's here south of Denver. So if you look at it, you see Interstate 25 is the primary north-south interstate. The road in question here is US 85, which is the surface road alternative to Interstate 25. So you see Highlands Ranch down here. Basically, this is all suburbia out here. So they're talking about this area in here, putting these intersections. And if you look at the satellite view, you can see right now it's just a 4-lane divided intersection, probably lots and lots of traffic out here. But yep, this is our corridor right here, US 85. Let's go back to the video.
Record safety wise, they actually perform better, 10 to 15% better in terms of reducing crashes. So it actually functions quite well. And that results in a much more efficient and safe and cost-effective solution for intersection problems.
So Corey, Jordan, this is all part of that widening project along Highway 85 here in Douglas County. This project actually started back in 2022. It's not going to be completed until later this year.
Okay, so let's take a little more in-depth look at this continuous flow. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on that intersection. I keep saying interchange. Okay. So we're here on the NCDOT website. So they built one of these in Charlotte when I used to live out there over on Mount Holly Huntersville Road and North Carolina 16. So I'll show you what that looks like here on the map because it already exists out in Charlotte. Where is it? Oh, right here. Here we go. There it is. There's the one right there in Charlotte. So I want to zoom in here a bit. All right. So for most drivers, a continuous flow intersection isn't going to change anything for you and how you move. It's only going to change things for the left turning traffic on the main road. So you see this here is the main road, the one going straight up and down here. And this is the minor road. The main road is the one that has the continuous flow movement. And what's changing is basically left turning traffic is going to go into a separate little mini alignment in here. And it's going to be on the left side of the oncoming lanes of traffic. So this is the part where drivers get confused because we drive on the right side of the road here in America. So any movement that puts people on the other side of, on that left side of the road is going to have some sort of driver confusion. You see this a little bit with the divergent diamond interchanges when people who aren't used to those drive over one for the first time. So what these are mostly used for are high capacity major arterials where you want a lot. It's similar to the uses of the Michigan left and the New Jersey Jughandle. They're going to be used for high capacity major arterial roadways. You want as much through traffic to get through as quickly as possible and as safely as possible. So these are built in places where, you guessed it, there's usually a long queue for left turning traffic. So if you go straight through the intersection, nothing's going to change for you. You can't turn left, of course, at the traffic light at the center of the intersection. If you're turning right, not much is going to change for you either, but you do have your own separate lane for right turns. And what changes are when you cross the intersection on the major road, there's a new signal right here that's further away from the main intersection. And there's going to be the same thing on the opposite side up here. And so basically it's just segregating the left turning traffic from the rest of traffic so that people who aren't making any left turns don't have to slow down or don't have to stop as much. And it eliminates the danger movement in all these intersections is when left turning traffic crosses over an intersection. So what this does is it eliminates that. So oncoming traffic and left turning traffic never actually cross one another in the continuous flow intersection. And then as far as traffic flow goes, this continuous flow intersection is the fastest intersection that you can build on surface roads that doesn't require any bridges. So this is one of the reasons that DOTs like this, is because they don't have to build bridges, and that makes it cheaper. Because when you start adding bridges to any intersection, that's when the costs start to go way up. So this way, all the roadways stay on the surface level. There are no grade separations, and things continue. Now, if you're on the minor road, nothing really changes for people on the minor road, other than you have the separate right turn right here, outside of the intersection. Same thing on this side. But outside of that, everything on the minor road is going to stay the same. Even your left turn movement on the minor road is still going to be signalized, and you turn into here, and you're going to queue in here. So I might have to do a full video breaking down this intersection, so we might get into that a little more later on. And yes, DOT also says it here. Most of the delays in intersections with traffic signals are due to the left turning movement. So the idea is just to get as much through traffic through as possible. So if we go back and look at where they built this in North Carolina, for those familiar with Charlotte doesn't have an east-west freeway, not a true one, but the closest thing to it is this piecemeal of Independence Boulevard and Brookshire Boulevard. So the goal up here with the one in North Carolina was this used to be a major bottleneck in Charlotte, right here, the 485 loop, and then you had this big signalized intersection right here next to it. So they built this continuous flow intersection to keep traffic flowing all the way through east-west across Charlotte. So 16 will never be a freeway, but you want traffic to move as quickly as possible and as efficiently as possible east to west across this roadway. And same thing if you go back and look at Colorado. You see south of Denver. If we look south of Denver, you notice that there aren't that many roadways. You have Interstate 25 that obviously goes all the way across the state, high capacity interstate. And you have US 85. And you don't really have much else going north-south in this area, even though most of Colorado's population lives in the north-south corridor between Colorado Springs and Fort Collins. So obviously US 85 is not going to be a freeway, but this keeps it being able to move a large capacity of vehicles very quickly, just a step under a freeway. So continuous flow intersection, guys, there it is. Coming soon to Douglas County, Colorado. So my suburbanites out there, get ready. I know there's going to be a lot of driver confusion. All right, now for this next story. If you guys have noticed over time from the videos that I've done on this channel, most of new roadway construction, especially in regard to interstates, is taking place in the Sun Belt, obviously because that's where most Americans are moving to. And the Sun Belt didn't have as much population, or at least a large percentage of America's population back when the interstates were first proposed. So you see most of our new interstates are taking place. You got I-69, you've got Interstate 11 out west between Phoenix and Las Vegas that we've talked about. And most other extensions and expansions of interstates and highways are coming in the south or in the southwest. But we have a surprising place where you would not have expected a new interstate to be underway. And that is none other than New York. That's right, guys. New York is working on a new interstate highway. Let's take a look.
A 32-mile stretch of New York State Route 17 from Endicott to Waverly has officially converted to Interstate 86. 12 News' Daniel Kern learned what this will mean for travelers in Broome and Tioga counties.
The New York State Department of Transportation announced an expansion of Interstate 86 on Thursday, as 32 miles from Endicott to Waverly was given the designation.
It's just a great asset to have this interstate designation for the notoriety that it gets on travel maps. It just helps for economic development and certainly greatly appreciated safety improvements along the way.
The conversion of this 32-mile stretch will increase driver safety, according to DOT officials. They say interstate highways require more safety measures and will be given more intensive maintenance.
Yeah, it has to do with the highway being designed for the higher speeds that you would see, so the curvature of the road, the super elevation of the road, the widths of the lanes and shoulders of the traveled way as well.
DOT workers removed the future 86 signage at the Owego rest stop Thursday morning and replaced it with the new I-86 signage.
Well, look at that. And in New York, a new interstate is born. Future Interstate 86 is converted to officially Interstate 86. Let's take a look at this on the map, because we all love maps over here. Let's see some of this area. So Interstate 86 is a highway that's running in southern New York. As you can see, coming out here from I-90, cutting across the southern part of the state. Actually going to intersect with Interstate 99, another future interstate. And it's replacing, like they said in the video, State Highway 17. So you see there's Binghamton. And here's the part of 17 that has not been converted yet. So, yeah, New York. Who would have thought? A new interstate in New York. I think we might have to do a full video breaking down that one too. Very interesting. Exciting times are ahead. Exciting times are ahead. Let's see what the rest of the video, if they had anything else to say. So that was 32 miles of Route 17 that was converted to interstate.
Officials say this signifies a major step forward in the ultimate goal of expanding I-86 throughout New York State.
It was great to get the future 86 designations signage up years ago, but to have that taken down and have the permanent full-blown Interstate 86 signs up is just another step.
State officials say this designation will improve economic development for distribution centers, manufacturers, and other business opportunities along the interstate.
All right, so there it is, Interstate 86. So my folks in New York, what do you think about this new interstate? Do you think it's going to help? I know New York has been struggling in recent decades as far as population loss, as have many parts of the Rust Belt. So maybe this interstate coming can bring some businesses back up in this area. Things have been tough. And last but not least for today, we're going over to my former neighbor to the south, South Carolina. And this time it's actually good news for South Carolina roadways. They're actually doing some work. South Carolina's getting it done. Let me show you how.
The interchange of I-26 and I-95 will be getting a makeover.
A big one. Hannah Powers tells us Governor McMaster was at a groundbreaking ceremony earlier today. Hannah.
Brendan, Carolyn, the groundbreaking ceremony for the interchange improvement project taking place this afternoon, and Governor Henry McMaster was joined by South Carolina Department of Transportation leaders to celebrate these new plans. The ceremony started at 3 o'clock this afternoon at the Wetzel Pond Road Overpass in Bowman. SCDOT officials explaining that the agency will reconstruct the existing interchange ramps along with the acceleration and deacceleration lane tie-ins. And construction plans also include a replacement of the Wetzel Pond Road Bridge over 26. The upgrades should help alleviate some travel delays and overall enhance transportation.
All right, Hannah Powers, let me show you guys what we're dealing with here. South Carolina finally making some progress on Interstate 95. I guess it's better than nothing. So for those who aren't aware, South Carolina currently has the worst section of Interstate 95 in the country, which I broke down on my Interstate 95 video. And this is part of the problem. As you can see right here, this is the interchange in question, and it is a very outdated 1960s, 1970s cloverleaf interchange, which was just fine and dandy back in the 1970s when there was like 2-3 million less people in South Carolina, but it does not fit the bill today. Looking at this, I would have thought I was in Minneapolis. Look at these 1960s ramps. So pretty much if you're familiar with this area, what typically happens along I-26 and I-95, this is where a lot of the gridlock starts, because I-26 is the main corridor in South Carolina. I remember when I used to live in Charlotte, if you're going to Florida, you would come down 77 and you get on 26, and there was constant gridlock all the way down 95 from this interchange. It's woefully inadequate for the amount of traffic that it serves now. So basically South Carolina hasn't done anything, at least up until this point, with I-95 since it was originally built. So this new interchange that you saw in the video, let's go back to that. So what you see in this interchange they have right here, they are eliminating the cloverleaf with their low capacity, and they're not showing the full scope of it, but what you're gonna have is, this is 95 right here in the middle. Traffic getting on westbound I-26 will have a separate ramp that goes over here, a flyover, and the same thing on the opposite side over here. This will be sufficient out here because very few people go from I-26 eastbound to I-95 northbound, and the same thing with right here from I-26 westbound to I-95 southbound. One of the interesting parts though, that I don't think they're going to mention in this video, is you see the bridge over I-26 right here. Notice that it is a little wider. Now I can't tell from the rendering, but it looks like it's wide enough to accommodate at least a third lane. So I got to give South Carolina some credit for their forward thinking right here. So that tells you right there, they don't have the money to do it yet, but they are making the space to do it. And they eventually do want I-95 to be 3 lanes on each side through South Carolina. How long that's going to take for us to actually see it, I don't know. Maybe our kids will know. But at least they're making progress. Shout out to the South Carolina DOT for finally addressing some of the issues on Interstate 95.
Efficiency. Officials say they're excited to get started on these improvements that will make navigating two of our major South Carolina interstates safer and more user-friendly. Governor Henry McMaster happy to offer his support today and help better connect our state to the rest of the country.
This is the sound of prosperity. What we hear right now, I'm so happy to hear these vehicles coming up and down the road.
Well, I guess someone should have taught the governor that you don't hold the microphone right up to your mouth, sir. Oh, we can't even understand what he's saying. Let's see if we can skip past that. No. All right.
But that intersection right there, I-95 north and south and I-26 east and west, that is going to, what we're doing today is going to allow this area to blossom and come forth. It's going to help all of our people for generation after generation.
Now, the total cost of the project estimated at $240 million.
$240 million. No wonder it took South Carolina so long to get this done. But hey, they're making progress. And the governor sounds like a true South Carolinian with that accent. Shout out to South Carolina, making some moves. And all right, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for today. We got a new interstate in New York. We've got continuous flow intersections about to pop up here in Colorado. And we've got South Carolina of all states. Can you believe it? South Carolina upgrading Interstate 95? Man, I never thought I'd see the day. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.